Infor, Epicor, JDEdwards, and Microsoft Dynamics are the 4 that we looked at this week. In addition to those 4, we've got a host of dozens of other, over 150 different ERP solutions that we've helped our clients evaluate, select, and implement over the years. So at this point, I'll go ahead and pass it on to Chris, and we'll dive into the demo scoring as you all rated each of these demos over the last week.
The first one is the overall demonstration score, and this was a combination of manufacturing, distribution, the workflows, and the cross-functional set of activities there. So you can see, and as people were recording their scores, we marked 5 as a completely out-of-the-box, game-changing piece of functionality. So a lot of the times we don't see too many 5s, and that's average. We see a lot of 3s and 4s, and then going down to 1 and 2, and 1 being the least relevant there. So you can see a pretty good range. They're all in the 3 categories, and of course this always relates to who actually does the presentations as well. The groups that we've worked with for this week historically are very prepared for presentations in front of clients. Next one is on the manufacturing side, and of course, we saw a handful of things related to manufacturing. We really only did spend, about a half an hour on the manufacturing side within each of these systems. So, it gave us a good taste, but obviously, each of the systems have a lot more functionality than we've shown this week, and it all does relate to what your real, true requirements are. Once we diagnose and get into the requirements and the demo, the presentations themselves. This is a graph showing where we have the greatest similarities, the closest, the scores being closer together than more disparate. You can see the workflow tool set, the automated processes, scored fairly close to each other. System search capabilities. The reason why we include the system search capabilities, it's just it's functionality that is always used and consistently used when within the system, really independent of functional user. Anybody from AP to sales to manufacturing, distribution, everybody's using those search criteria. So that's why we like to include that. And then on the right hand side there, we've got the bill of materials and the routing scores, and you can see that they're all very close to each other. And that's to be expected with these systems there. So what we have here on this screen is the areas of the greatest differences. And you can see here this relates to the role centers, the general navigation, and then warehouse management. What we look at those two, the role centers and the general navigation, this is looking at how intuitive the system is. And when we look at the role centers, as I said before, this is where people are logging into the system. They're going to spend a majority of their time. They're going to get a majority of their data from these dashboards and these home pages. So it is, we look at how intuitive is the navigation, how does it look on the eye, how clean is it on the screen, and then also what data appears. We also take into consideration how easily is it to personalize those role centers and those dashboards per user as well. General navigation is just that. How easy is it to get through the system? Are we clicking multiple buttons to get through one process, or are we just clicking, from screen to screen and getting all the functionality there? Warehouse management, we typically see some discrepancies here. Now I wanted to talk a little bit about vendor strengths, and obviously that each of these systems are very strong in manufacturing. That's why they are on the list for this first round of the vendor showdown. But we wanted to give you another brief, update on some of the other things that we're seeing as well. So we've got cross-functionality there. You can see customer service and a couple of leaders there from the RFP scores. Inventory management, IT, pretty similar across the board there. Project management, we've got some differentiation. And then from the sales order and the sales cycle side of the system here. So again, these are more data-driven from hundreds of hours that we receive from each of these vendors here. Again, it does take into account who is doing a presentation, also who is filling out the RFP, because certain groups are more apt in inventory management or more apt in project accounting, or more apt in manufacturing.
If you're interested in this kind of content that we shared here today, this just kind of scratches the surface on some of the topics that we cover at our ERP Bootcamp and Vendor Showdown, which is something we do a few times a year throughout the country. This next one is going to be in February 3rd through the 5th, which is right after the Super Bowl, by the way, for those of you that enjoy the Super Bowl. That'll be the week following Super Bowl Sunday. It's a great 3-day training session. We've dramatically increased or expanded the agenda for this year to include 4 different tracks. 2 of those tracks will be focused on ERP best practices and technology agnostic guidance on software selection, implementation, project management, change management. And we're also going to have, within those 2 tracks, also manufacturing and distribution focused content for manufacturers and distributors, because we do so much work in that industry. The 2 other tracks are going to be focused on vendor demos. So we're going to have, I think, somewhere between 6 and 8 software products being demonstrated for manufacturers as well as other industries as well. So you'll get a chance to kind of go bounce around between these different vendor demos. You can pick which ones you want to go to, as well as the thought leadership and content and educational training that will have this a little bit more technology agnostic than the demos. So it's a great 3-day session. We'll be in Vail, Colorado. Perfect time to ski. We actually, ski passes are included with the registration, and we're leaving time open the agendas to accommodate extracurricular skiing while you're there. So it should be a great time. If there's anything we can do to help in your engagements or provide any other follow-up information, feel free to reach out to Chris or myself or Brian, and you've got our contact information there.